Hello, this is Nathan Barnatt, and you are watching Retro Spectrum.
Can you just stop talking and make the rest of this awful trip a little less awful?
I just filled up a few hours ago.
Guess we'll have to flag somebody down.
Think you can take the handcuffs off? Ah, thank you.
What are you doing stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars?
What are you doing bounty hunting? You're a sad, goofy man who can't restrain a prisoner.
Ah! Hey! How did you not see them?
Waiting for something that has AC.
You're the one that got yourself here.
You and your clown car got us here.
Clown car?
Yeah, your broken down Steve Urkel mobile.
I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or questions, or even like I would, because no one's seen this. You guys are like the first people to ever see this. So last weekend I showed a group of people, and now you're like the second group of people that have ever seen it, other than my brother and my friends. So is anyone confused on anything? Anything weird? I mean, I totally am open to anything. You can say it stunk. You can tell me whatever. But if anyone was confused, I had like some major thing like something didn't click. You can tell me after if you want to, or now, or whatever. But if you have any questions about any of it, I could tell you whatever, or I'm open to hearing your thoughts. The whole thing cost $50,000 to make, and that was with like major favors. Everyone worked for free. That was basically just for like equipment and locations and all the police. We had to get police to like shut down the road. And no one came all day. We had these cops there paying them for nothing. And then we went back a fourth day in the desert and stole that the whole day and just didn't tell anyone we were going out there. And not one car drove by. So I was like, dang, I could have had 3 days with no police. That was like so much of the money was for the cops. But in case someone did come by and drove over someone, we had to have them there. But yeah, $30,000 I got from people online who donated. And then $20,000 I paid. And I sold all my arcade games to do that, what you just saw. So some people might be like, why would you do that? Because it's totally different from anything I've ever done, and I sold the things I love the most to make it. But I feel like I'd rather have had a movie under my belt and done something different than just I love video games, and I always love video games, and I love Keith Apicary, but I would much rather do something like that, than just keep doing the same thing over and over. So that's why I did that short film. To show that I'm not just a clown who falls in my face all the time. But yes.
Well, as a clown, I thought you fell on your face rather beautifully. I really liked the bits where she says to you.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the movie, is this when she leaves him. Basically, that shows like how it feels to him every time she gets denied, you know?
Often people write short stories because they want to write a novel and they think that's the way to
Mm-hmm. I made this originally to do a completely different movie called Las Vegas. It's Loss Vegas. So these two brothers going from LA to Las Vegas with this big box of poker chips. And that's like much more of a straight up comedy, but it would look very similar and be sort of similar to like Bottle Rocket or something, kind of that type of movie, like indie, but like, comedy, but also kind of like very cinematic looking. So this was just a random short story I had thought of. The original version, the reason for it was, okay, I could handle doing a short film. I could probably pull that off, and then I can use that to show people, say like, look, I can do more than just fall down and assemble a story and make it look nice. And then feature would take place on a desert road, like the whole way, and they're being chased. Has anyone ever seen Duel, Steven Spielberg's first movie? This and Las Vegas are very heavily influenced by Duel. I really like Duel. It's just a car being chased by a truck on a desert road like the whole time. It's so good. It's the best. I love it. So anyways, I wanted to do like my Las Vegas movie would be a comedic duel, and this is basically a way to like maybe get that to happen. But it was just a simple idea. And originally the idea was my brother and I both wanted to do a short where a car drives itself away because we really like cars driving away. It's something like, in some of my videos, if you've ever seen like my dance videos or any other things I've done, I've let my car drive itself, and that's what films me sometimes, is I'll put the camera in the back of the car and just let it drive down the road, and I'll like dance behind it, and that's how I get like a dolly shot. My brother does the same thing, and we'll put it like in the shotgun window, and you just walk next to the car as it's driving itself, then you run and jump in the car and stop it. So we just really like doing that, and it's like a fun activity for us. And we've done it a lot. So then we're like, we should just have a car driving itself and like show it. My brother made a short called Solar, which he won't show anybody because he didn't show anybody any of his stuff. And he has the car driving on its own. So then we're like, let's do a movie where, this is a long answer, but we take a story with like 3 beats, 2 people in the desert, stranded, the car drives away. And he would go and do his own version, and I would do my version. And his involved 2 guys. One was guy was dumped out of a van by like these mobs guys or something. And the other guy's like kind of a Burning Man hippie guy. He's out in the desert playing a keyboard. And then they meet up, and then the car leaves on its own power. It's totally different than mine. And this is what my version looked like. I made mine, he didn't make his. So if he ever makes his, then that's something we wanted to pitch to a network. If anyone's ever watched Amazing Stories, the 80s show, we wanted to pitch a new version of Amazing Stories where it features directors, and you take a short story, and you see like, not major big directors. We want to use people that are like, a little less known, but are working in television. It's people that we know in the comedy world. So it'd be like, each episode, the guest stars would be the directors. It's like, this one's directed by so-and-so, and this version is directed by so-and-so. So you can see like each people you kind of recognize, people who are from the entertainment industry, and what their version of this story would be compared to the other person. So that's something we wanted to pitch, and that's kind of, all of that is sort of how this came about. But ultimately it's to make Las Vegas, hopefully. But that'll cost at least $1 million because it's like, I think Las Vegas will be my physical comedy opus. It'll be like my Dumb and Dumber or Ace Ventura. People are like, oh, it was never better than that. And then I'll like burn out in one movie. But I wrote in every physical bit I've done that I think is worth doing in a movie and come up with new ones that I'm like saving, and I'm only waiting for this movie. So, sorry. It's easy for me to ramble. Yes.
Did it hurt being like as you're hanging from the car?
No, I didn't get hurt. Well, at one point, I got only hurt once I knocked the wind out of myself on the shot where the first shot where I'm blown away in the living room, and then I'm coming down and I hit the hamper. I landed on my fist like this, on my ribs, and I just knocked the wind out of myself. And we had like a really short day. We had to like get all that slow motion stuff done in one day. So I started just crawling over to the monitor because I wanted to see how the shot looked, and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't talk. And I laid there for a second, and everyone thought like something bad happened because I slammed on the ground. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I gotta go see the shot. So I was going, and I was like trying to breathe as I'm crawling over to the monitor, and I go, and they didn't know what I was doing. I was like, wait, and they're like, why do you want to, they're like, what? So I was super hurt, but they didn't understand what I was doing. I was like, I didn't really care. I just wanted to see the shot. So that was the only time I got hurt, because I knew I'd be fine in a second, but nothing else hurt. And I did all that stuff, and the car was actually, a lot of the time it was driving by itself, but the times when we needed to steer, my brother was in the car. So I'm going on to something else. I'm not even answering your question. I was going to tell you something about how I could have hurt myself, which was being pushed by the car, being dragged by the car. Being dragged by the car, I actually had to drag myself, and I ripped my clothes apart. These are actually the shoes I was wearing in the movie. Yeah, these are the ones I was wearing in the movie. Those are my favorite shoes. And I had a second pair when I had to drag, and within 5-10 seconds, it chewed through the tops of the shoes. My toes were hanging out and getting cut on the pavement. And that's when I was like, all right, that's enough. I got to stop. So then I just let go. But as soon as I started dragging, the road was so rough, it just ripped through everything. But I needed at least one shot of showing me running. I'm not faking this. Look, you can see there's no pads or wires. And I fall and drag because I wanted people to know, like, oh, he did that and it wasn't cheating it in any way. And the same thing with the front of the car. So that was the only time I could have gotten hurt, is I could have ripped my toes over or something, I guess. But then the part I was actually kind of sketched out about, which was on a day we didn't have the cops. When I was in front of the car, we just went out there and just hoped for the best and hoped no one shut us down. And when we, annoyingly enough, when we were out there with the permits, the first day that we were shooting, the cops or some permit guy from the Film LA or whatever came out. I was like, oh, you don't have the right permit, and he shut us down. So we had only done my coverage of driving. We were supposed to do Phoebe's coverage, and it kind of threw off everything, and that's why the audio was so different, because we had a different audio guy the next day, and I was like, we should have had all the interior audio with the same guy. So that's why they have to even it out. Anyways, the day when we weren't supposed to be there, nothing happened. The day we were there, everything got messed up. But when I was in front of the car, my brother was driving, and there was no way there's so many rock cracks in that road. They're big cracks that make my feet kept skipping, and I could get hung up. And my stunt coordinator, my friend John, who like helped choreograph all these stunts and like figured out how I wouldn't die, he took IKEA cutting boards and cut little rectangles and then screwed them to the bottom of my shoes. And that's how I slid, because my shoes were too grippy to slide. But I only had like 30 seconds because they started wearing out fast and my shoes would start gripping and then I'd start losing it. So I'm like pushing, and I needed it long enough where I could get in this position, and then I'm like feeling my feet start grip, and I'm like, yeah. So it's cool if you see like the shot where if you saw the unedited footage, I'm pushing, and then all of a sudden I would just go like this, and I'd spin and then stand on the side of the road. It was like super cool looking, but it wasn't on purpose. It's just that was the way to get away from the car, and the car would drive by. So that was the only time I could have like actually got run over, because my brother couldn't see because he's like laying down. I could keep rambling forever, but I don't know if I should not. One thing leads to another in my head. Does anyone else have a question or anything? If not, I can keep rambling. I got something kind of interesting I thought I could tell you. Should I tell it? Okay, I'll tell you. To get the car to drive straight, did anyone see the Gloria music video that I did? It was a single shot music video. If you haven't, go check it out. You might like it. If you haven't left by now, maybe you're sort of entertained by this. Gloria is a music video I did for the band called The Midnight. They're a super like 80s sounding band. They're so good. They're around right now and they play now. But it's called The Midnight. The song's called Gloria, and I had an idea for a song. And that music video is what helped me raise money for this movie, which will then help me raise money for Las Vegas. But Gloria is a single take video with my car in that location with Phoebe, and it's like on me on the car, and then it widens, and then all of a sudden I'm behind the car, and I had to just keep jumping in and out of my car and climbing in and getting there and shot, and then getting out and running behind the car, and like it was like all for real. So when we were doing that, I'm forgetting what the point of this story was. What was I gonna say? Oh, the car. My brother was driving the car. He was laying on the ground. We put it in idle. I put it in first gear and just let it idle in first gear, and I pulled the e-brake a little bit so it wouldn't go too fast. And my brother was in the floor of shotgun steering, but he couldn't see what he was doing. He was just blindly like turning the wheel because it kept veering off the road. So we had a PA, some girl on a walkie-talkie, talking to him in the car, and she was running in front of the car going left, left. But there's a delay. When she says left, then he has to go right. So the car starts kind of going like this, and it was a real mess, but we ended up getting it done. So on the movie, I was like, we can't do that again because we need the car to go faster than the music video was, and it just looked like I actually had to chase the car. But like it won't go straight because of the bouncy ground. So my older, smarter brother, Josh Barnatt, who is like an engineer kind of guy, he also did all the still photography on that, so if you see any pictures posted, he took them. He bought a backup camera for like vans or whatever, if you want to put a backup camera on a car or whatever, and we hid it in the grill of the front of the car, and then had it wired through, so there was a monitor in the car, so my brother could, as he's laying on the stick shift, shifting and like hiding, he could see where he was going, but it was backwards. So we taped a mirror to the monitor, and he looked at the mirror, so it reversed the reversion or whatever, and then he could see where he was going, and that's how the car drove by itself. And yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I don't know how else you would do it. Like, I don't know how The Rock does it in his movies, but that's how I do it in mine. It's also things I do a lot more dangerous than like real movies with insurance. Although we did have insurance on this. But I feel like the only way to really do it is to just do it the dangerous way, and then it looks better. I have a problem with stunt guys, and I've worked with a lot of them, and I don't like how safe they are because it doesn't look funny, and people don't flail, and playing it safe doesn't look good on camera, I don't think. So anyways, those are the times I could have gotten hurt. I guess I can stop talking now.
I'm sure you're going to say use like a cookie sheet when you were dragged.
One shot that you could, when I was dragging for a while. When I first dragged, I just did it just to show I did it. And then on the shot where I drive goes through the frame, And then after that, the next shot, I'm like, my feet are kind of wiggling. There was this piece of plastic that was under my crotch, and that was on a rope tied to my bumper, and my arm was just hiding it because I needed more coverage, and I could only use the stunt wardrobe for the shot where I actually drag, and then it was ripped up, and then I couldn't wear it anymore. So I had to save, yeah. So there were 2 shots where we did have John gave me like this plate that I could drag on, and I could have dragged on that thing all day. It was like so safe and easy. But I think the better shot before is when you just see him like, it's like, yeah, the only way to do it is to do it. So yeah.
Notice the Barnatts in the credits, so that's your 2 brothers.
Oh yeah, I have 2 brothers, Seth and Josh. Josh lives in Massachusetts. He's a photographer. He's a real man with hair, a house, and children, and a wife. And then my brother Seth and I are the 2 losers in California with nothing, but we make movies, sort of, sometimes. Yeah, but Seth and I shoot everything. We write everything together. So yeah, he helped me big time on this.
Who came up with the like heartbroken flying through the room?
That's based on reality. My friend Becky shaking her head.
You like see it, you're like, I remember feeling that.
Yeah, like that is straight up, like she's like my best friend, Siobhan, but it's based on Becky's friend. She's drinking more wine now. But she knows all about it. She knows like because it was like the hardest breakup I'd ever gone through. So I still had it like in my system. So I was like, I gotta write something with this. But that's basically how I felt every time I tried to like fix the relationship and it just wasn't working. And like she just kept shutting it down, which was what we should have done a long time before that. So kind of everything what Katie and I, the girl in the flashbacks, are saying is pretty much like what I went through. And I was like, this could be cliche. It's like a breakup movie. It's like kind of emo, but.
Isn't she from like not Asian enough or something?
Oh, almost Asian? Oh, you know her? Yeah, Katie. Oh, she'll be super happy. Yeah. Katie and Phoebe, the 2 girls in it, are like working actresses who do a lot, and they're super funny. But yeah, Katie's awesome, and she's a really good dancer too. Yeah, so she was in, if anyone's ever seen the videos I've done called Skateboard, it's about this like thrash dude who skates. Katie's in those as well. And then Phoebe's in the Gloria music video. Phoebe's in something else too. I don't know. But yeah, Phoebe was also on Silicon Valley, so if she looks familiar at all, you might have seen her this year on Silicon Valley. She was in that a bunch. But yeah, they're awesome. I feel like I actually took notes from both of them. One acting, I was like, because like I had to direct this, and I don't like directing myself, but like it was nice to like see them, who people I respect and I just think are good actors. Phoebe, we did a take where I was supposed to give my emotional thing about like the woman in my dreams left me, and I straight up cried on the first bunch of takes. On the first day, I was just crying. I was getting really upset doing it over and over. And I was like, oh, cool, I did it. But then I watched it, and I was like, oh, it looks stupid. Because I was just like, I was like crying. And I look like really stupid when I cry. And it looked like I was faking it, but I wasn't. And I was like, that's what my face does. And it was just too much. And I even had Phoebe. She cried in the car. She like just got upset and just cried. Because originally the story is the tear would drip off of Phoebe's face, hit the car, and that shuts the car down. The car's like, oh, she's upset. I'm shutting this down. You guys need to work through this problem. Because the car is, I should explain this. It's called neutral because the car is the neutral party between us, and it's like it doesn't think she should be going to jail for what she did, so it breaks down so I won't take her to jail. This is what I think. You can think whatever you guys want. But so the car is the neutral person, and it's also bringing me back to a neutral place where I'm down here after the breakup, and then when you're normal, like when you're not in a breakup or everything's fine, you're here. And then when you're in love, I think of it, you're like way up here. So the car is bringing me back to neutral, it's freeing her, and I had another thing I was going to say about that. Yeah, so the car is like the third character, and that's what neutral comes from, is the car. Also, the car is in neutral, and it's not driving, so this neutral plays into it a lot. But what did you say? What was I just saying a second ago? I was going to answer, so I was saying something. This is what? The crying, yeah, the cry. Thank you. I took it out because I thought it was too cheesy. I was like, it's too much. It's too indie, emo movie. It was like too much. And I was like, it's kind of obnoxious. And I don't think it was necessary. Like, she cries, it shuts the car down, and then at the end, I'm kind of bummed because I just spilled my guts to her. And now it's like, this is actually kind of nice being out here with you. Now I got to go back to like, dealing with all these gross criminals. It was refreshing having you here. And she says, well, you did get a free magic show, and I was supposed to do like a happy tear, and it dripped out of my face and it hit the car, and that's what turned the car back on. So it's like, okay, but the car's just, I figured it's better if the car's just sensing what's going on. She touched my hand, that's enough. So I cut that out.
Is there a reason you didn't say magic trick to drive people crazy?
Wait, when? Oh, magical trick?
Did you say
So like,
You specifically don't say magic trick, and I was like,
yeah, because that's the thing I like personally in a lot of like Keith videos and other videos. I like when people say things slightly wrong. It's like, I know you're saying, but you're stupid, and I just think that's funny. So I was like, oh, I should get a couple of my Nathanisms in there. I had more,
oh, you
and
have a sweater on.
yeah, so I was gonna say this is game related because if anyone noticed in the bedroom scene, there's a Sega CD next to the bed, but it's a kind of dark shot, so you probably couldn't tell. And I had Keith's sweater on in the bed, and also I put a picture. A fan made a picture of Keith and sent it to me that week, so I hung it up in the restaurant bar shot in the background. So there's some little Easter eggs for people who like Keith.
Like, why?
No.
And a great ID picture.
Thanks. That was assembled by me and my friend Arnie. That ID picture was made, and it's like all my mom's maiden name and stuff on that card. But yeah, I had to go to like a prop house that like, does like all the movies and stuff. And it's like Westworld was there when I was like renting my gear, the handcuffs, the license plate, and a wallet. And Westworld had like trucks full of stuff and guns, and then I was like, I'm renting these 3 things. It was like $75 for my stuff, and they had like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of props. So I felt kind of stupid. They're like renting this 3 props, but I had to rent them. So yeah, I rented the
ID.
No, the ID was made, and I rented the wallet and put it in. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, but it was hard I couldn't find handcuffs anywhere, so I had to go rent them, like old handcuffs. So yeah. And that plate is from the 80s too. It's a police one. I got a license plate that was like from the 80s. Because this is supposed to take place in the 80s, but no one gets that when I'm like, so I'm sort of letting go on that. That's why I was supposed to take place in the 80s. And then she references Steve Urkel, and I was like, well, I didn't want to take that joke out, so now it makes it at least 89, because that was his first appearance, was in 1989. I like looked it up. So I was like, well, it's 1989 now. Yeah, and I couldn't get that, so I had to put chatter of like talk radio in the car. And it's like, well, if people think it's 80s, then cool. If not, whatever. But the Katie stuff, the flashbacks don't look 80s very much for some reason. It's just because of the apartment and stuff. But yeah, is there another panel in here right now? I guess I'll answer these questions, then we should get out. Because if anyone wants to go watch me get in a freezing bucket of water, Adrian and I, the guy that went back there, I don't know if he's still in here. Oh, there he is. We're going to go play Street Fighter against each other in freezing water. So. Yes, there were 2 questions. Yeah.
Can you just talk a bit about what happens now you've made the film and it's in the can, I believe, parlance for your industry. So what do you do with it? So you kind of made it. I mean, do you then whore it out to all the studios? Tell us about the whoring.
Yeah. Well, I do that a lot, every day, constantly, selling myself to people. So what I have done, I submitted it to Sundance because the deadline was a while ago, and I got a super extension. My friend whose production company let me use his insurance for this is friends with someone that works at Sundance. So we got to submit it really late, unfinished, with all the color correction and stuff. So I submitted to Sundance, Slamdance, 2 other ones, I can't remember what they were. I'm submitting it to 15 more festivals once I get the color correction and the audio done next week or the week after. I'm just submitting it to tons of festivals. I'll do that. If it gets in, I'll play it there. And then festivals have all been saying now, it doesn't matter if it's online, but I know they usually prefer if it hasn't been online yet, so it's sort of special if it plays there or can premiere there. So I've been waiting to put it online, but once it's finished, I'm going to send it to people who donated, who are getting the digital download, do the festival thing. So probably the end of the year or January, I'm just going to put it on my YouTube channel, I think, for most people just to see it, just to get it out there. And then so if it gets into festivals, that'll be good for it, and I can use that as leverage if I'm trying to get money for the feature. But I don't know, it might be kind of difficult because this is nothing like the feature I want to do. The feature is like a Dumb and Dumber in the desert, kind of. Not as cartoony, but yeah. So that's my plan, is just I'll put it out for free because it's only 22 minutes. I was like, it's not. I'm going to make a DVD. So people have been telling me like a lot online that they would buy a DVD. So I think I'll put like a DVD together and do like commentary and a lot of bonus features and stuff. So it's definitely like the most ambitious thing I've done on my own outside of like, real productions. So I feel like I should make the most out of it as I can, put something together. So yeah. I wasn't sponsored by Keds, but I had everyone wearing Keds thinking, because I had the whole thing happen with Macbeth, and you guys know I got my own shoe for Macbeth's footwear. I was like, well, maybe I could do this again with Keds. Skittles kind of jumped on it. I was like, well, and I like Keds. So, yeah, maybe Keds will put it out with a free pair of shoes. You can get the movie. but they're like women's shoes. So I don't know. Oh, she does? I don't think I am Ked's material. It says women first, 1916, not video game man. But yeah, I love him. So.
Can I ask who's the music producer again?
Shadrew, Shadrew. Yeah, he's awesome. Yes.
You could use Keith to do Keds, and you could call Keith Apicary.
Oh, that's good. I like that. All right, I will take your idea and do that. And I'll let you know when they say, please stop emailing us. I'll say, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't my idea. What time is it right now? Almost 9. Well, if anyone has another comment or question, I can answer, but then I should run into the big room and get in that bucket of ice. So, thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. I know it's nothing like, it's not video game related. It's not really funny. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.